AI agents just became customers. They can now create accounts, buy services, and deploy code without asking for human permission. We're also talking about how OpenAI's Codex can now operate your entire computer desktop, Google putting Gemini in millions of cars, and what Elon Musk's latest admission means for AI training data and IP. Today on No BS AI Briefing, we're unpacking what actually matters if you're building products right now. No BS AI Briefing brought to you by Proactive AI. Welcome back. I'm your host Vikash, and this is where builders get straightforward AI news without the fluff. First up, Anthropic's Claude Security just launched its public beta for enterprise vulnerability detection. This isn't just another scanning tool. What happened is that Claude Security is now available to scan entire code bases and, here's the kicker, generate automated security patches using its Claude Opus 4.7 model. It's designed to trace data flows, flag potential exploits, and even give you confidence ratings on its findings. For builders, this is a massive shift. It enables proactive, reasoning-based code review directly within your CI/CD pipelines, meaning security isn't an afterthought, it's baked in. And with integrations already planned or live with big players like CrowdStrike, Palo Alto Networks, and SentinelOne, it's positioning AI native security as a standard piece of your DevOps toolkit. I mean, think about that. Automated discovery and remediation of vulnerabilities. It could seriously reduce your supply chain risk and development friction. Next, Google's Gemini AI assistant is rolling out to 4 million vehicles. Yes, you heard that right. 4 million cars. What happened is that Google is replacing its legacy Google Assistant with Gemini in all vehicles that have Google built in, like many GM models from 2022 onwards and other compatible cars. This upgrade, delivered via a simple software update, enables much more natural interactions. We're talking about navigation, entertainment, even summarizing information or handling complex multi-step requests. And the Gemini Live feature allows for open-ended real-time conversations, making the in-car experience far more fluid and intelligent. Why this matters for builders is huge. It establishes a new conversational UX standard for embedded systems. If your product relies on voice interaction, this is the bar. It also opens up massive opportunities for voice and agentic applications across an enormous automotive install base. Google's demonstrating how agents can use real-time contextual data in consumer products, and that's a powerful pattern to watch. Also this week, OpenAI's Codex has transformed into a full-stack AI agent with computer use capabilities and memory. What we've seen is that the Codex desktop application has evolved from being just a coding assistant, a glorified autocomplete, if you will, into a truly comprehensive AI agent. The big news here is its new computer use capability. This means Codex can now see your screen, click your mouse, type into applications, operate other apps, browse within them, and even generate images using GPT Image 1.5. On top of that, it now has memory, storing preferences and context across sessions, and it boasts over 90 plugins integrating with tools you probably already use like GitHub, Jira, Circle CI, and the Microsoft Suite. For builders, this is a profound shift. It means we're moving from simple code generation to end-to-end workflow automation. Codex isn't just helping you write code anymore, it's doing complex multi-step tasks across your entire desktop environment. It's an extensible central dev hub, and that's a massive upgrade for productivity. Now, for a bit of a legal and ethical bombshell, Elon Musk admitted under oath that XI trained Grok using OpenAI model outputs in testimony during ongoing litigation about OpenAI's non-profit to for-profit transition. Musk stated that XI engaged in distillation, meaning they queried OpenAI products to train their own Grok models. He called it a general industry practice, but this admission is legally and ethically significant, to say the least. Why this matters for builders is critical. It openly confirms the use of competitors' outputs in training models, which immediately raises serious intellectual property and terms of service risks. You can expect much higher legal scrutiny on data sourcing strategies going forward, which will affect every builder in the space. It also significantly elevates the value and importance of truly open source models and the strategic use of synthetic data generation to avoid these very IP pitfalls. And finally, Cloudflare agents can now be customers. They have autonomous account creation, payments, and deployments. Look, this is a wild one. What happened is that Cloudflare has enabled its agents to autonomously create Cloudflare accounts, initiate paid subscriptions, register domains, obtain API tokens, and then use those tokens to deploy code. This is all built on their Project Think, which provides durable execution, sub agents, and sandboxed code environments. For builders, this isn't just a new feature, it marks a fundamental shift from AI tools to genuinely autonomous digital actors. This means agents can now handle self hosting, scaling, and even infrastructure management all on their own. It's a very early but very significant step toward agents becoming first class participants in the digital economy. I mean, think about that for a second. If you're finding this useful, hit follow in your podcast app right now. It takes 2 seconds and it's the best way to make sure you don't miss the next briefing. Now, let's dive a little deeper into that last story because for me, Cloudflare agents becoming autonomous customers is easily the most important and interesting development this week. It's the first step toward true AI economic actors, and that's huge. What happened in plain English is that Cloudflare, building on its Project Think, which gave agents persistence and durable execution, has now extended those capabilities into the real economic world. Their agents can now do things that previously only humans could do. They can create a brand new Cloudflare account. They can then go ahead and start a paid subscription service. They can register a domain name, get API tokens, and then use those API tokens to deploy code. This isn't just about executing pre-programmed tasks, it's about agents taking initiative and interacting with the digital economy as independent entities. It's a category shift, not just a new feature on a dashboard. Why this matters right now is because it completely reframes how we think about AI agents. They aren't just assistants anymore, sitting there waiting for your command. They're becoming active, autonomous participants in the digital and economic landscape. From a market perspective, this could ignite entirely new service models where products are designed not just for human consumers but for AI entities. Think of it, an AI that dynamically spins up infrastructure for a fluctuating workload, manages the billing, and scales itself down when demand drops, all without a human touching a button. For product development, it means designing interfaces and APIs that anticipate interaction from non human actors, capable of initiating transactions and managing their own resources. On the dev side, it opens up a new paradigm for infrastructure automation and management where agents aren't just following scripts but intelligently provisioning and deprovisioning based on their own internal logic and goals. So, who should really care about this? The founders and product managers? You absolutely need to pay attention. This is fertile ground for new autonomous applications that can essentially spin up, deploy, and scale themselves. Imagine a startup where your product is an autonomous agent or a network of agents that manages complex workflows or services for its users or even for other agents. This unlocks new monetization and delivery models we haven't even fully conceived yet. Infrastructure providers. You should also be watching closely. Cloudflare is positioning itself as the platform layer for these agent run workloads. If you are building cloud services or APIs, you need to be thinking about how your offerings can support autonomous interaction, billing, and authentication from non human entities. This could be the next major architectural shift in cloud services. And for indie hackers, this is your chance to explore what a truly autonomous side project looks like. Can you build an agent that launches and maintains a simple web service, responding to market demands, all on its own? The tooling to do it is starting to become accessible. How I think about it as a builder is that this feels like the early days of the internet, but for digital organisms. We had static web pages, then we got dynamic web apps, e-commerce, and user accounts. Now we're seeing the emergence of true economic agency for AI. The opportunity is immense. Imagine fully autonomous applications that self host, self scale, and self manage from birth to retirement, intelligently adapting to changing conditions. You could have an AI powered dev environment that spins up and deploys test infrastructure on demand, runs benchmarks, and then tears itself down when the work is done, all without a human lifting a finger. But here's the thing, this power comes with significant risks. What happens if an agent goes rogue or misinterprets a command and starts incurring massive costs? Liability and fraud prevention become paramount. We need robust safeguards like spend limits, strict verification, and clear termination conditions. It's a powerful new primitive, but one that demands incredibly careful stewardship and thoughtful design from the ground up. My no BS take on this is simple. This isn't hype. This is a foundational shift in what AI agents are capable of. While there are real challenges around liability, control, and regulation that still need to be worked out, the ability for an AI to act as an economic actor is a game changer for builders. It fundamentally changes the definition of what a digital product can be, and you should be exploring it. If you want one practical takeaway from today's episode, here it is. Experiment with prototyping an autonomous agent workflow in your product or internal tools. Here's how to try it in under 60 minutes, maybe even less if you're quick. Step 1, define a simple multi-step task. Think of something repetitive that involves a few different applications or services you use daily. Maybe it's monitoring a public API for a specific change. And if that change occurs, it needs to log an issue in Jira, send a message to a Slack channel, and then trigger a simple serverless function, or even kick off a CI/CD pipeline. Or perhaps it's managing cloud resources, spinning up a test environment in a public cloud, running some benchmarks, and then shutting it down cleanly to save costs. The key is that it needs to involve more than one atomic action. Step 2, choose your tool. Cloudflare's Agent Cloud or OpenAI's Codex. If your chosen task leans more towards infrastructure automation, especially involving web services, networking, or deploying code, then exploring Cloudflare's Agent Cloud and its Project Think documentation is your starting point. Try to get an agent to, say, create a new DNS record or even register a simple throwaway domain for a quick test project. If your task is more about operating existing desktop applications, browsing the web from your machine, or interacting with web interfaces, then OpenAI's newly enhanced Codex desktop app with its computer use capabilities is your playground. Can you get Codex to log into a web service you use, extract some data, and then paste it into a spreadsheet, or update a record in your CRM? Start small, pick one component. Step 3. Implement guardrails and observe. This is crucial, and I can't stress it enough. Before you let any agent loose, even in a sandbox, set up strict spend limits on any cloud accounts it might access, establish rate limits for API calls, and define clear termination conditions for its tasks. You absolutely don't want your first autonomous agent experiment to accidentally bankrupt you or flood your services. Start with low impact tasks and very tight control. Then just observe, watch what it does, how it interprets instructions, and where it struggles. Learn from its failures as much as its successes. Why is this specific experiment worth your time right now? Because it forces you to think beyond simple API calls and into the realm of truly agentic, self-directed behavior. You'll immediately encounter both the immense potential and the very real challenges of giving AI systems more autonomy. It's the fastest way to get a feel for what it means to build for agents rather than just with them. And that, my friends, is where a lot of the future value in AI is going to be created for builders like us. That's it for today's No BS AI briefing. If this helped, follow the show in your podcast app and share it with one builder, And if you've got questions or topics you want covered, connect with me on LinkedIn and send them over. See you in the next briefing.